not to live long. They have no use for your song. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead and out of this world. Now your hope and compassion is gone. You've sold out your dream to the world. Stay dead, stay dead, stay dead. You're dead and out of this world.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerd of Two Movie Podcast. We are back again.
Are we live?
We are indeed live. Yeah, you can. Oh, we've only been doing. Well, I mean, you haven't been doing it as long, so to be fair, I guess we can give you a pass. I guess it's Halloweek 3. Fuck.
Halloweek 3.
Shut up. Why you gotta point it out? We're doing 4 movies tonight. We got Slither, VHS 85. What's up, Alex? And VHS 85, he's in the room. VHS 85, Five Nights at Freddy's, and the other one, Boogeyman. Strike that, reverse it. We'll be doing Five Nights at Freddy's last. It just came out today, so... I mean, do you want to do a spoiler-free review if we can, or...?
We could do as much as we can.
I mean, there's really not a whole lot of story to spoil, in all honesty, but a little bit, you know. It was terrible. The game, there was no Katniss. I'm watching Peaky Blinders, and Finn is in Peaky Blinders fucking whores and being a goddamn Nazi. Yeah, if you ever watch Peaky... Joanne's watched it. Finn from... Yeah, he's Mosley. I'm in the final season, and I'm very sad. I did appreciate that, like, in the second half... Like, in Season 5, they went to, like, hour episodes out of nowhere. Like, up until then, they were, like, 36 minutes. And then out of nowhere, they were, like, 58 minutes for, like, the last 2 seasons. So...
Who aired that? Was it, like, BBC or something?
Netflix.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is, in Season 6, at the end of Season 5, somebody dies, and they don't show you who. And then Season 6 comes, and you're like, wait, they died? Like, are you fucking kidding me? And then you find out that the person that played the character died in real life. So it wasn't the initial plan, but because this person died in real life, they just, when they did Season 6, they used that, and it's sad, because when I'm watching it, I'm like, wait, are you fucking kidding me?
That's almost like...
Then you realize that person actually passed away, and it's like, fuck, alright.
That's almost like that TV show, what was it, Newsroom or whatever, with Phil Hartman?
News Radio.
News Radio. The last episode was him falling off the building, and then... The next episode was supposed to be him, whatever, see what happened, but he actually died for real.
Yeah. Fucking his crazy-ass wife, bro.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was not his wife's number one customer.
Here's the thing, right? Like,
he was dipping into too many cookies of other people.
You told me all it was Italian dressing. But, like, he was a stupid man, though. Like, he went home, told his crazy wife, hey, you crazy bitch, I'm done with you, and by the way, I'm gonna go sleep in our bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have how much money? You can't go rent a fucking, like, you live in New York, outside of New York. You can't go into New York City and just rent a hotel room for yourself while you gather your shit. Like, why would you sleep in your fucking bed after telling your wife you're like, how do you sleep? Like, how do you go like, I'm sorry, my dear, but fuck you. And then like, nighty-night. Like, how does that work?
Is she still in jail?
She's dead. She killed herself, too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought she got
it was a, how do you say, murder-suicide?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, the craziest one was Jake from State Farm, the original.
Uh-huh.
The whole commercial was his wife thought he was cheating.
Yeah.
And then the way he died was he was cheating. She caught him and then blew his brains out.
Okay, so how much jail time do you think a wife should get for that? Like, what do you think's fair?
Life in prison.
Life?
Yeah.
You don't think insanity is a fair plea? They just saw blind rage?
No.
No? What about if a woman cheats and the husband shoots her? Is it different? That's my property.
I don't think blind rage should be checked under insanity. I don't think it's...
I mean,
it's
yeah,
fair.
okay, but then let's take the situation of, like, the guy who killed the guy who molested his son and was going to jail, and he was, like, in a phone booth, and he's like, gotcha, bitch! And he shot him in the fucking head.
Gotcha.
What about that? Because that's not even blind rage. That's calculated. But it's emotional distress, I think, on maybe a different order. I don't know.
I think if it's emotional, it's different.
Yeah.
I think it's literally.
I don't know.
Honestly,
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with you. I don't think it's like I understand it's heartbreaking, but you know what I mean? Like, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I would say there are certain things you can do in a relationship that would be like killable offenses. Like having the volume of Gilmore Girls up too loud when I'm trying to play games.
Sleeping on my pillow when you shouldn't be on my pillow. Oh wait,
Scale.
that's me. Sorry. I hate fucking getting to a fucking bed and it's hot. It has to be cold.
Jesus, that's your fault for being fucking Mr. Freeze over here.
Or playing video games at 20 volume, even when your wife is not home, because she's drilled into you that everything's too loud. But then when she gets home and you can barely hear it, she's like, "Turn that shit off! It's too loud." And you're like, "What?"
Oh wow, that's him.
Dude,
You
I
haven't
go
been
upstairs
home.
like I'm weird. It'll be 1 a.m. and I'm not going to bed until 3. So I go upstairs and I make myself some eggs. Because here's the thing, I don't like to snack, but if I do snack, it's gonna be high protein and no carbs. So it's some fucking eggs and feta. I'm in, right?
If I do snack,
You know what, man? I thought I was the only one who did that.
Nah.
I make boiled eggs late at night when I'm like hungry.
Dude, eggs are the I make myself like if I have some pepper and onion, I make an omelet, dude. I don't give a fuck. But as long as I'm not doing carbs, it's just some cheese and the eggs and the veggies.
do you?
Dude, I
and
hate cooking eggs.
Dude, I love it. It's the easiest thing to make.
I love it, but I always find it like tedious. Like I just
No, it's super easy.
Giovanni, do you go full hard boiled or do you do like soft boiled?
Soft boiled.
Okay. How many minutes then? How long do you do?
If it's 3 eggs, I usually do 2 minutes an egg. But I
You-
have the special cookers that superheat real quick.
Nice. From Japan?
Yeah, probably.
So you start the water off first and then you put the eggs in, or do you like put the eggs in?
Cold water, eggs in.
Okay, and then you count from there. Okay.
Yeah, and then I ice.
A lot of people have
them
different. Yeah, a
as
lot of
soon
people
as
have
they come
different.
out.
Yeah.
See, man, I love eggs, man. Like, I love eggs so much. I buy pre-boiled eggs that are packaged because they're like $7.50. It's like $7. No, but they're good tasting. They taste just like.
They taste good.
Yeah, they're
They
good.
don't have like a funny taste.
No, not they. And that's the thing. Here's the thing. It's perfect. There is no taste to them besides egg. It's not like they didn't put any salt on it. There's nothing. It's just the fucking egg. And it's perfect, because then if you want to add some salt and pepper, you can. If you want to fucking dip it in goddamn nacho sauce because you're a big fat fuck, you can. By the way, Velveeta makes everything better. I want a goddamn Velveeta sponsor on this show. I'll take a fucking Velveeta bath in a commercial. I don't give a shit.
Velveeta does make everything.
It makes everything better.
I just picture that someone randomly found like the live button for our podcast and was like,
fuck?
"Oh,
Oh, sick.
the fuck
Talking
are they
about-
talking about
There's
eggs?"
Hard-boiled eggs.
There's a bored fucking Velveeta executive just like cruising the internet like, you don't say. I'll be in contact with you. I would
Ned's
love a
DMs are
Velveeta
blowing up.
sponsorship. I will prostitute myself to get money from Velveeta because I love the product. Sure, it's made of a chemical compound that is probably involved in the same stuff that turned the guy into the toxic sludge man from RoboCop. That's fine. It's tasty and delicious, and it makes everything fucking better. Hot dogs, cheese fries, you name it. You put cheese, you put it on anything, you're going, hell, this is better. Chicken salad, probably gross, probably better. We don't know. I haven't tried
So
it.
my father came back from Michigan and he gave me 6 pounds of this cheese. Like it's Velveeta. It's the Velveeta
Government
box,
cheese,
2 pounds,
yeah.
2 pounds of cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Government cheese.
So I
That's what
took
it
one
is.
out. We made fucking nachos. We put it in the crock pot,
Nice.
poured some milk in there, just put it on high, and it
Dude,
liquefied that shit
It
up.
literally makes dinner easy because you could not think about dinner until fucking an hour before it's ready. And if you have macaroni and Velveeta, you literally have it's just milk
Mac
and
and cheese.
Velveeta, and you've got fucking mac and cheese at the minimum.
A little salt to taste.
Oh, you want to make broccoli cheddar soup? You really, bare minimum, chicken stock, broccoli, onions, garlic, Velveeta. Minimum, sure, I like to add sharp cheddar in there, but
Man,
it'll do in a
you're
pinch.
You're turning into the Flex Seal man of.
Oh, Billy
processed
Mays
food.
here. Do you eat Velveeta, you cholesterol-loaded fucks? I'm back from the dead to pimp out cheese substitute. You want to get fucked at the movie theaters for nachos? No, fuck that. Five Nights at Freddy's is on Peacock. Watch it there. Make some nachos. It's just milk and Velveeta, you piece of shit. Substitute
be
some
in
milk
the
with jalapeno
commercial.
sauce.
Ordering nachos, they're like, "How much cheese you want?" No cheese, and then they cut to him sitting down, looking around and pulling just a block of Velveeta out of his pants.
It starts off as like we act like it's a commercial about like I've got a colostomy bag and like living with my disorder, and then I have my nachos and I say no cheddar please, and it's like something, maybe you think it's something for the diet, and then I sit down and I pull the bag up and it's just warmed fucking nacho cheese that I'm piping into it. Velveeta's the best. Eating like Velveeta flavored everything. Like, would you like a stick of gum? And it's like Velveeta flavored. Like, what the fuck? No, this is disgusting.
You get the pretzels and
Dude,
hot dogs from the
I'm not even joking. Dude, my wife was like, all right, not every dinner needs Velveeta. Because I was sitting there like, what can I make for dinner tomorrow? And I was like, this would be pretty good with Velveeta. And she's like, let's not have Velveeta for a couple nights.
When she said that, is that when you put your hands down?
Yeah, that's when I broke my desk. You don't tell me about Velveeta consumption. I flipped it over like the Incredible Hulk. Yoshi went running. He was scared. Basically, if you've played Spider-Man 2, the first time you see Venom is what happened when she told me no more Velveeta. I mean, I am the dude that goes to Olive Garden, awkwardly stares and looks at them and never says when. Eventually, the Olive Garden waiters turn into Dobby. Please, sir, can I stop, sir? No.
They're like, cheese.
More!
Can you grind this cheese?
I brought a chunk of Swiss. Please, could you add it to my soup? I think it would blend well. Apparently you can buy those, and I plan on it.
Yeah, me too.
When you go to Olive Garden, you can ask
cheese
them.
graters.
A little note, personal note. Tomorrow we're going shelters, looking at poopies. Gonna see what they have.
Ooh.
Yeah, we need to get a buddy for him. You know, he's
Good
getting
luck.
older. He needs a. Yeah, we'll see. The golden retriever thing was a situation where they were fucking breeders, and as soon as I kind of pieced that together, I was like, all right, fuck these people. Like the puppies were cute, but
Are they asking you to bring your dog along with you, or just the two of you?
the two of us, I think we'd have to bring everybody in the household. The pause application has a lot of shit you got to fill out. So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
we've seen what they've got online, and we're gonna go in and see what's available. Like the only thing we do know is puppy is kind of where it's got to be at.
Mm.
That's just for ease of compatibility.
We're looking at possibly getting a wiener Doge for around Christmas for Rory.
And you know what, man? It is crazy because, like, even if, and here's my thing, adopt, don't shop. And, like, you look at adoption fees, and some people bitch that $250 is a lot. And it's like, it is, but you're looking at something that's, like, going to be your best fucking friend for, if you're lucky, the next 14, 15 years. Like,
And you're rescuing.
Is it really so? Like, yeah, and you're right. And on top of it, you're also making space for another dog. So it's like, $250 is expensive when you think about the unfucking conditional love an animal is going to give you over 14, 15 years if you're lucky for it to live that long. Like, shut up. Like, dude, like you're like, and that's the weird thing is people like to shop for everything, and it's like you're not buying something. Like, we're looking at dog adopting as I'm going to go in there and see if there's compatibility. Like, I want a connection with one of them, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. As long as it's a puppy, and if there's any sort of connection, then that's, it'll be like, okay. And you know me, I got a soft spot for pit bulls. So, there's always...
You said you guys are going tomorrow?
Yeah, we're going to go see what they have, and there's a couple...
Send us some pics.
There's a couple shelters around as well that we could look at to see, but, it's... for me, it's not even about like the type of animal or anything. Like female, male, I really don't give a shit. Jen would like a female. I don't really care. For me, it's just like I want to get a dog that can be compatible with Yoshi.
She also wants one with hair so she can get it groomed.
I mean, that would be ideal, but you know me, man. I love like Yoshi's a boxer pit bull mix, and he's got such a beautiful maintenance-free coat. Like, get him bathed and slightly trimmed here and there, but. He's never dirty. Like he's, so, but here's the thing is I'm up for whatever. I just want to get him a friend. I want another dog on the house. We've always been a dog of two big guys. And Yoshi, I think, has been a little bit just like, it's just me. Like, he gets fucking energized at, like, midnight for no reason. And it would be nice to hear two dogs roughhousing with each other again. I miss it. Him and our big guy used to do it all the time. So, it's time. I said by the end of the year I wanted something in here, and we're going to look. We're going to see how we feel about what we see and everything, and then go from there.
Cool.
All right, to movies. Start with the first one, Slither. Now, this was an Alex pick. Alex, why did you pick this fucking movie?
It's the penises.
I said that like I was mad at him about it. Like, dude.
I liked a couple of the actors. Nathan Fillion, for one, and also it reminds me of Night of the Creeps back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
It was another.
Oh shit!
Late
Yeah, I didn't
80s,
even
early
think
90s.
about that. Till you said
So
it.
it reminded me of that movie, and I wanted to check it out, and I fucking loved it. So
I don't think
that's
it's
why
a
I chose it.
coincidence that the town in this movie reminds me a little bit of the town of Charmed. Giovanni, am I wrong?
Or Gilmore Girls.
No, I'm sorry, you're wrong. Gilmore Girls. I'm wrong. Gilmore Girls is the town I meant. It very much reminds me of that small little, like, what's her face?
Everyone knows
Lorelai's,
Movie trailer, Gilmore Girls and Slither.
A little crossover thing going on.
I'm gonna
Especially
add
the
Velvet
part-
Revolver's song in it finally.
The part where Nathan Fillion goes, "If you had a Gina, you'd marry him too."
Like, that's the thing is, here's the thing is, I am one of those people that is heavily looking forward to Lollipop Chainsaw Remaster or remake, whatever it is.
That game's
Which
great.
was James Gunn's game where he custom picked the soundtrack and he wrote the whole story and all the dialogue and blah, blah, blah. So I do really love James Gunn's humor, and I think Slither is a pretty great example of that, of like, it is one of those movies that's awesome because even though kind of like abhorrent things is happening on screen, you still kind of have that like, huh, geez, like nothing's taken like very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And then even when he splits the dude in half, I was like cheering it on because I was like, holy shit, that was awesome. Like, that was a cool death. It reminded me of the Vampires when I'll get some fucking beer and he gets split in half at the door. Like, I don't know, man, I like scenes where people get split in half. Jen said, hell no. What, you didn't like this movie? She didn't like Slither, I guess.
Or no, I don't think she wants you to compare it to Gilmore Girls.
Oh, the town
the
the town is a little bit of Gilmore Girls. Yeah, that's another thing of hers. Like, so we were in the car on the way home, coming home from a wedding, and she was already kind of in a bad mood. And so then, like, she was listening to, what was it, Tracy Chaplin's Fast Car? And you know how, like, in Fast Car, she's kind of got the, like, hey, I want to hear her. And so then I was throwing in the Adam Sandler's, like, shabadoo, like, randomly in there. And I think it was legitimately pissing her off. So, like, I know how to ruin things for her, so she doesn't want me to... She won't watch a spliced-in cut of Gilmore Girls meets Slither, I don't think. Just fucking scenes of, like, I was gonna say Mickey Rooney, not Mickey Rooney. Jiminy Jillikers. No, who's in this? The guy who is the creature.
Errol Dixon's brother.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker.
Like, just scenes of, like, he's like, what, you don't love me? And it's just Lorelai, like, I don't think I do anymore. Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, and then he's just like, well, then the next scene is like, you splice him in the scene where Luke and her baby daddy fight and start splicing a fight scene between them somehow. It would look terrible, but...
Do you remember the late night commercials where they would come out with like the 80s love songs and it'd be all these songs, which was a lot of them are from this movie. And that's another thing that made me laugh about watching this now as I'm older, like seeing this music from like the TV shows and stuff and then fucking having it like the commercials.
I used to remember the 90s dance mix ones too, where like you would just be watching Three Stooges and then the infomercial would come on and it'd be like the rhythm of the night. You're like, what the fuck? Like, you know, it's like, and then you're like, your 90s dance hints collection.
Yeah.
What? And then it'd be like, you'd have a whole list of like Fatboy Slim, like, and just, you know, like going on and on. And then like, it would be pretty good compilations, to be fair. I used to look at those like I'd love to order these.
And then there was that like religious one that would always play, and I can't think of what songs were on it.
They were all
Are
like
you talking about Pure Moods?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your modern contemporary Christian recordings by your contemporary Christian artists.
WGN Late at Night was all over the place.
Sail away,
Dude, yeah, it was always like, I'm in love with Jesus, and you're just like, oh god, no, this music is bad, no. My dad brought up the movie Dogma the other day, and I was like, "Fuck, we gotta all watch it on YouTube and review Dogma."
I love Dogma.
I would say we should review Clerks 1 through 3, but Clerks 3 is a fucking heavy movie.
I've not seen it.
I still haven't watched it.
It's good. Like, here's the thing: is I think Clerks 2 is the best of them. Just pure laughs per minute. It's just the funniest. First one's cool because it's indie comedy. You know, him doing his first Kevin Smith's first shit, cool. But I think Clerks 2, he was really in his writing aspect of just like the whole discussion, you know, about Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings. Like, that is brilliantly fucking written and brilliantly performed.
I thought you were talking about going from ass to mouth.
That not so much. I mean, sure, it's part of it. Like, or you know, the idea of like he's got porch monkey written on his fucking work vest, and he's like, I'm bringing it back.
Because his grandmother used to say it all the time.
Yeah, basically anything with Randall in that movie was fucking gold. The third one is funny, but he really took the whole almost dying from a heart attack thing, I think, really to heart. And to his credit, I think you can feel that sort of connection and emotional investment he wanted you into the characters enough to when, you know, something does happen in it, you kind of get like a fuck, man. Like,
so
you're seeing, you know, you're seeing this guy tear up, the Randall or whoever tear up when he's talking. I was like, wait, he's an asshole. Throughout the other two movies, like, why is he getting emotional? Like, fuck this, I'm getting emotional. No, it's onions. There's just onions.
It's that whole thing, right? What you know, he did for that one.
Yeah, and I think he's good at that. I think he's good at writing dialogue for characters. I don't necessarily think he's good at writing characters, but the speech he gives the characters, I think, is brilliantly written because it's a kind of, you know, it's each character that talks is maybe a character you knew, from the dipshit stoners to, you know, the nerd comic book guys. Like, the dialogue he writes is realistic. And it's funny, for the most part. Well, you know, we'll see what else he does. I don't know if he's still making movies or... Just don't make Tusk 2. Fuck that movie.
Did he mention making a Tusk 2?
I hope not. I'm just saying don't.
I think he's giving it to his daughter to do.
Yeah,
or did she do that one?
No, he directed that one, I thought. That was,
I think
Justin Long.
She had something to do with writing of one of them that he directed.
You know what, dude? I don't like nepotism, so his daughter can go fuck off, frankly. Like, I don't care about her. Like, sorry, Kevin Smith, but your daughter doesn't matter to me. I'm a fan of yours, not hers. That's not how it works. Like, I'm not, if you're a fan of Hulk Hogan, you don't have to love Brooke Hogan. Like, that's not how life is. We all get to pick everybody. Back to Brooke Hogan, Slither, you know, Alex said earlier, maybe he said at the beginning, I think the CG in this movie does surprisingly hold up really well.
Yeah, I said that the movie does, yeah.
I also, speaking of the CG and the creature feature, I love that the director decided to really keep the creature at a distance till the very end. Like, you see chunks of the creature, but the creature doesn't come to fruition.
It was kind of like Bigfoot. It was kind of like Bigfoot running in the background.
Yeah, it's almost like that kind of like, no, we're going to have a big reveal, and when we do, it's going to be big.
And it was big.
Yeah.
It was like the whole first floor.
Just the whole whipping sound its tentacle makes when it cuts the dude in half is just so hardcore. Because it does. It makes like a whoosh sound, and then the guy is just like, and he fucking splits in half. I loved it. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I didn't remember much of it. I appreciate that kind of James Gunn filthiness that it has.
Pam was in here too.
She was a receptionist, oddly enough.
She was the receptionist, yeah.
I wonder if that helped, because I know James Gunn, I don't know if he was, I think he knew the guys that did it. I don't know, you gotta wonder. Maybe they saw that. But did they say this was 06 and Office started in 05? You gotta wonder if, like,
that helped
they were filmed at the same time ish, you know, because I think it took it. They filmed it and then it was like it came out a year later or something.
Mm-hmm.
I had forgotten most of this movie only because anytime I ever wanted to watch it back in the day, it was never streaming.
Blockbuster had one copy of it when it came out.
Yeah, it's almost like this movie got lost. It was never available.
It didn't have rights for a while. Like, I looked into this movie a few months back and you couldn't buy it and it wasn't streaming anywhere.
Wonder why? That's so weird.
It's a licensing, dude. I mean, look at Airheads. I owned Airheads in my iTunes, and they removed it from my library, and you cannot buy it anywhere digitally. Blu-ray, good luck. You might find it at a Walmart, but Walmart's talking about no longer selling physical games.
That's the thing about buying the rights or buying digital fucking movies.
You technically
you don't
leasing
own
it, yeah.
Yeah, you don't own it. If something bellies
Which
up,
you know what? But you should
it.
send me a fucking email that says, "Hey, asshole who bought into our scheme, we took an item out of your life." Like, even if you don't refund me, you should at the minimum say, "Hey, we did this."
Yeah,
like there should be something
to the ridiculousness of like the power that those companies hold. And the opposite end of that is Dogma. Because of the shit that went on, Dogma has been locked away for nobody to touch, and it's ridiculous.
All because it's tied to the fucking Weinstein name. Hopefully that'll change too.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like that, and then like that whole thing is stupid. Is like I get it, but you lock all these intellectual properties behind it because he was a piece of shit. Like, say what you want, the facts are the facts, right? The guy produced movies, he made stars and starlets. I'm not gonna say I'm obviously not agreeing with his piece of shit methods. It is what it is. It is Hollywood history at this point, right? Just as much as, you know, Natalie Wood falling off the boat and drowning is a part of Hollywood history. Like, it wasn't right, but like locking. Yeah, well, ask Christopher Walken. Bitch fell. But like, that's the whole thing. Is it's just, I don't know, man. I think it's bullshit to lock movies behind it because, you know, oh, well, he got Me Too. Sure he did, but these properties probably more than likely had nothing to do with it. Even if the stars that were engaged in the activity with him were in these movies, the movies really had nothing to do with it. And like, not to be a dick, but go ahead and tell me what stars and we can see what their career looked like before and after, just for fucking statistical data.
Well, also saying. once he's removed from the thing, he can't earn any money off the shit anymore. Once he's removed from the property, change the name of the company and fucking.
Well, I think that's basically what they've basically dissolved it, and they've removed him from everything from it. He's got no rights to it. It's all under his brother at this point. So like, I mean, the whole industry knew. Everybody wants to say, "Oh, this horrible guy." Y'all fucking knew.
Even Kevin Smith knew, and he fucking.
Everybody fucking knew.
He went with somebody who was going to produce his fucking movies.
Like, here's the thing: Hollywood is a place of secrets. I'm sure these dudes are told, "Yo, you're going to see some shit. Be cool." Like,
that's why
it's a place of shut your fucking mouth and accept what we're giving you.
That's why I love Lloyd Kaufman and all these fucking trauma movies.
Well, then there's also stuff that goes with other stuff too, where it's like you got that one actor, Isaac something or other, that ended up unaliving himself. And before he did that, he had posted a video about Seth Green talking about certain activities with a certain age bracket. And then he unalives himself. Like, there's other, like, Hollywood to me seems far seedier than any, like, mob or, like, you know what I mean? Like, just the amount of control they have over, like, beaming their fucking messages into people's houses. And then in the background, they're the dirtiest motherfuckers in the world. Same thing with a lot of especially in the 90s, the music industry. Like, nobody wants to talk about the music industry. Are we just not going to talk about the producers that made the boy bands give them sexual acts?
Menudo was one of them, yeah.
Like, so it's a weird thing where it's still very much we ran our mouth about this, but we're still hush-hush about this. Yeah. Then you have the actresses that didn't say anything because it was like,
I made it big.
I know I've got skeletons, and frankly, Weinstein buried some of my skeletons. What am I supposed to, you know what I'm, like, what are you supposed to say if you not only benefited from it, but owed Weinstein a fucking favor? What then? What does George Clooney do then? Not saying he had anything to do, I'm just, as an example.
As an example, yeah.
What does Tarantino do? What does Tarantino do?
Tarantino has big on Weinstein, isn't he?
Yeah, well, that was his entire career was with Weinstein.
Yeah.
He said he was a father figure. What skeletons between that 15, 20 years, whatever it was, do you think Weinstein knew of Tarantino's?
Quentin Tarantino
everything starts at the feet, yeah.
The difference is everyone knows Tarantino's into weird shit.
Well, there was that one photo where it was like him like going to like kiss a foot or something, and then there was speculation on the age of the person behind the foot.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it wasn't a good age that people were speculating based upon the length and the math they did of the proportions of said foot.
Fucking geometry came out.
Leave it to nerds to be like, no, this femur bone is about the size of a 14-year-old.
Judging by the hand position under the palm.
Right? I mean, these are also the same nerds that like hack you if you beat them at Call of Duty. Like, I've got your IP, motherfucker. You're gonna fuck my mother, huh?
You just been swatted.
Yeah, have you guys seen that YouTube video where like the kid's playing Call of Duty and the mother's like, yo, I want you to meet my new boyfriend, and the guy comes in and he's like, who are you? And he's like, hey, what's up? And he says his name and he's like, nothing. And he's like, or should I call you? And then he tells him his gamer tag. And the kid is like, I haven't used that gamer tag in years. He's like, remember when you 1v1 headshotted me? And the kid's like, I told you I was gonna fuck your mother, didn't I? And then he like just kind of like walks out of the room looking at him. It's a funny fucking video. All right, so Slither, Alex. Now I'm gonna assume this movie holds a place in your heart because I know you. Not only now, but you've wanted to review this, I think, for a while, and it was just and randomly it's on Peacock now.
Yeah. So yeah, there is a nostalgia factor for me. But being realistic, you know, I want to do this the right way. So it is like a 4 for me. But I fucking love this movie, and for nostalgia reasons, I have to give it a 5. But I don't want to do that. But I love everything from the dialogue that goes on between the characters.
I think I agree with you with nostalgia reviews, but is this a movie that you could see yourself watching multiple times a year?
Now that it's on Peacock, yeah, and I don't have to dig it out of the.
I mean, since it's available, like that's the way I look at it. Like, yeah, I agree with nostalgia, but if nostalgia also meets, like, if you're at a 4 and you say it would be a 5 if I was going on nostalgia. If it's a movie, like if it's a go-to movie where you're like, oh fuck, I'm gonna throw Slither on, you can give that a 5, I think, fairly. That's a 5 to you. And I think a movie like this doesn't really have many of those critical errors. So I don't think it would be invalid if that's the way you felt, just to clarify.
Yeah.
Also, did you see this in theater, or did you guys find it like after the fact?
I saw this from Blockbuster.
Yeah, I was working at that time at Blockbuster, so I actually got it like 3 or 4 months, or no, it was like what, it used to be 10 months after that. Back then it was like almost a year after.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you got it, a couple weeks if you were lucky before it hit theaters, or
but
before it hit DVD for sale.
It was something I was looking forward to because I was a fan of Firefly, and Firefly came out I think a year or 2 before this.
Still a huge fan of Firefly. I have it on Vudu. Still an amazing
so
series.
Good. Even the movie, I love.
You know, I just wish they wouldn't have made it so fun. You know, final for some of the characters. Like I would have loved an open, like, you know, like something just so you could have rebooted it after you became a super mega. Everybody wanted to work with you. You know, and when you could choose any project you wanted to do, and people will suck your ass for it.
He was supposed to have 2 more movies dedicated to Firefly after this, and he didn't get it, and he ended up turning it into the Marvel shit.
See, Guardians of the Galaxy are incredible movies, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen all 3 of them? Even the fucking Christmas special was all right.
Were we talking about, what's his name from Serenity? Or this guy, Gunn, from this one? Because the guy from Serenity is, what's his name? Oh, God, he did Buffy and all that shit.
The one who got canceled.
That's Joss Whedon,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had 2 more contracts to do. He had 2 more contracts to do Firefly movies, and he ended up turning into Marvel instead.
Well, I mean, where do you go with the franchise after the movie? You know what I mean? Like you killed like 3 of the people that everybody loved, and then including Priest, which in the movie he's got such a diminished role.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, they really, how do you do, like, because at that point you would have had to spin off or make it all about Fillion, and yeah, that wouldn't have worked. He's great, but it was an ensemble thing.
You know, I think it was. I think the movie was better received than they thought.
Yeah,
and it was like, hey, make 2 more, and you're like, what the fuck? What do you want me to do
with
this?
what? I just ended the story that you guys fucked me over on from Fox. Like I just completed my vision, and now you want me to make more of them because now they're a success.
I took my wife to see Serenity, and she was like, "Oh, she's like, I liked it." She's like, "That's it." We actually saw it in theaters, and I was like, "There's actually a TV show that comes before this." I said, but she's like, "Oh, there is." She's like, "I never knew," and I was like, "Yeah, well."
Well, see, that's where I made Jen watch Firefly with me before I allowed her to watch Serenity, because when I saw Serenity first and was disappointed that like the Reapers were not more engaged.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like it must be really cool to have watched it in order, and then you finally see the fucking Reapers in Serenity and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So when we watched the series and then we watched Serenity, and I kind of got to experience it in order, and I was like, dude, man, this is like a fuck me, like But that's what's good about that. And here's the thing: that's like I don't like this attack on physical media, because there is an attack on it right now. But I do love the convenience of digital. I do love the fact that I've got every Three Stooges short that I can watch on my iTunes right now. It's fucking brilliant. Like, DVDs are great. Blu-rays were awesome. And I used to be one of the biggest collectors you can think of. But, like, are they practical? No. Are they economical? No. 2 weeks after a movie hits digital, it's usually on sale for $12.99 or below. Blu-rays debut at $25 or $24.99 the physical. And they usually don't go on sale until a few weeks after, and even then, that first sale is probably $17.99.
I have two and a half 50-gallon containers in my basement of just movies.
Yeah, I have two of them too. And the thing about it
is,
here's the thing: physical media sounds better. You're gonna get the purest audio track you can get, right? Unless you have a goddamn Dolby Atmos setup, you're not gonna hear it. And here's the thing: they look different. They're different. I did Transformers digital against the physical 4K releases. It's a bit cleaner because there's really no compression on it, and the audio track is a bit more thumping. That's true. But I mean, for the sheer idea that you can pull up a movie you were watching in your living room and then your wife fell asleep and then pull it up on your iPad,
just by using your fingertips.
I understand.
Yeah.
And like,
more of a collection concept
and here's
for me.
This is why I hate Disney. Because I think they're overpriced, and I just hate Disney on principle, but they have got the cleanest goddamn 4K streaming picture on the market. It beats Netflix. It beats them all. If you watch a Disney Star Wars 4K image, you could tell it's all filmed on digital, probably 8K cameras. Because it is the cleanest fucking 4K you're finding in the streaming networks. It just is. And I hate that, because they don't have a whole lot of shit I care about. Score, Slither, Alex.
It's still gonna be 4 for me. But nostalgia 5. But
how many eggs? How many hard-boiled eggs?
Hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, we'll go hard-boiled eggs with that are oddly enough stuffed with candy corn.
Hard-boiled eggs that when you cut into it instead of yolk, it's fucking Velveeta cheese.
Oh, Velveeta cheese.
Hard-boiled eggs.
Can we get?
I was gonna say that it was filled with airheads.
Can we get fancy and top it with candy corn shavings?
Sure.
You're already on the diabetes train.
Whatever, bro. Whatever.
No, but I really do love this movie, though. It is great.
Giovanni, as my phone calls
I'll go. I love Slither too. This is actually a 5 for me. The graphics hold up. All the actors in this movie I watched to go on and make great shit. Like,
by the way,
I have nothing bad to say about any of them.
Can we give a shout out to Michael Rooker?
Mm-hmm.
Michael Rooker is everlasting awesome. He's always in decent shape. Like, you see him in this movie when you first see him in his flannel.
He's supposed to be some like old,
right?
He's supposed to be old already. Yeah.
You see him
I suck your nipples.
Yeah,
like, that was crazy.
You see him in his flannel, and then he takes his jacket off, and you're like, this dude's fucking ripped. Like, what? Yeah. I was like, has he ever not been in good shape? Like, yeah, in Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, he's just kind of skinny, but then like, anytime he's reemerged, he's been in great shape. I hate him.
And then what's her name? What's her name actually made a Cocaine Bear?
Mm-hmm. Elizabeth Smart?
Elizabeth Banks.
Elizabeth Banks. I like her quite a bit.
She's kind of an idiot, but I do like her.
She is an idiot. Yeah, you're right.
She said a lot of dumb things come out of her mouth.
Yeah, but I will agree that she is a good actress.
She's funny
one of
too.
The few.
Zack and Miri,
Yeah, I like her. I always found her funny. She's also like, for a while I was like, man, is she gorgeous? Like, there was like, she had a stretch of movies where it's like she was kind of in them but not prominent, and then you're like, why is this chick like, She's very pretty. Bring her to the fold, and then
She's playing second fiddle. Why?
You find out she runs her mouth, and you're like, ah, fucking bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up over there, you and your rights. I'll give you a right.
But yeah, this is an easy 5 for me. I'm gonna give it a 5 for sure. I enjoyed it a lot.
I'll go next. I'm gonna give this an easy 4 out of 5. CG holds up, dialogue holds up, acting holds up. It's a solid movie. I mean, it's not a 5 for me just because I didn't get that feeling of like this is a 5. You know what I mean? Like there's certain movies for me, a 5 is like I could watch this movie again and again, and this is not one of those. But I really liked it. I had not seen it since probably 09, 08 when I was working at Blockbuster. Really loved it. Maybe before that, I might have been in high school, but really loved it. Easy 4 out of 5.
Yeah, same for me, 4 to 5. I really like a lot of my favorite directors use a lot of the same actors, like Gunn, like Mike Flanagan and Quentin Tarantino. And you can tell that these directors that do use the same actors, like you could just tell like the actors they get appreciate working with them. Yeah. Like the dialogue in this movie is very punchy. Gunn's dialogue is always like even
on Twitter when it's a pedo joke.
Movies, yeah. Even if you don't like superhero movies, like the Guardian movies alone is just like everyone's firing on all cylinders.
That first Guardians movie isn't just a good Marvel movie; it's a damn good sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it is. Those 3 movies you can pull away from Marvel, and they're good.
100%
standalones.
Well, that was what was so refreshing about number 3 is there was virtually no connection to any of the events that went on except for Gamora's death.
Yeah, they didn't really reference a lot of shit.
Yeah, they were literally like the whole Thor connection. They showed none of, which I appreciated. I wanted a story about them. Rocket's always been my favorite character, so a story about him was exactly what I wanted out of the third one. I wish Adam Warlock would have been a little bit more present and a little different, but I understood the direction. He was a fucking idiot. All right, next movie. VHS 75.
VHS.
Yeah, this is the newest iteration in a long-running series of VHS anthology horror movies. I'll start this one off. God damn, did they go heavy with the VHS filters and effects in this one. Jesus, I don't think I owned a VHS that was as badly fucked as this one that this movie was supposed to be taking place on. Constant tracking and looping and holy God, get it fixed.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the movie.
I think of Danny Boyle's 28 Days Later because that movie was intentionally filmed like ass.
He literally, they were like, you don't want to use the good cameras? And he's like, no, give me a DV camera from Best Buy.
I tried rewatching it not too long ago and I was like, this is not looking so hot.
You can't have a 4K transfer of vomit.
It makes me think about the VHS series, how awkward these movies are going to look 20 years from now.
Well, the problem is they're already at a point where, like, they're clearly filters. Like, this is clearly a 4K recording that you've just layered filters. No different than what I do. So it's like, at this point, we already know what we're looking at, and none of the stories have any sort of the original kind of, and they won't, and I understand that they're going to dilute as it goes on, but like, are you slicing some paper over there? Or?
I dropped my papers.
Oh, I heard paper. I thought I heard
Bible?
paper, right?
No, it's just little notes I take.
Just reading a little King James during the episode, fellas.
The good book.
I stole it from a hotel.
I've been singing a lot of them this year.
I do think that it's a bit diluted, but it's enjoyable.
Because my wife doesn't watch the show, every time her and I go on vacation or stay at a hotel, there is a Bible in the hotel. And when she uses the washroom, I just throw it out. That's for you guys.
Every time we go, my youngest kid goes and looks for the Bible every time we get to another hotel. She's like, why are there Bibles here?
Because some people believe in God, you heathen.
Because people usually commit suicide in hotels and they want to fucking save them.
Dude, like here's the thing. I just see
what it's for.
I just see Giovanni like getting ready to throw it away, and he's like atheist, environmentalist, atheist. And he's just like,
You only almost caught me one time, and I had to put it in my backpack. I forgot it was in there. And
No,
when we
yeah,
got home, was like,
I forgot to bring a bag. I'm using the garbage bag as transport bag, not throwing away bag.
You brought a Bible home unexpectedly, huh?
Yeah.
You know, there was in the last hotel we stayed in. There was the pool is like right past where you walk to go to the elevators.
Here we go.
A little later at night, and this couple is in there, and I noticed the woman's basically got a thong on. And I was like, Jesus. And I was like, hey, look over there, Jen. And right as Jen goes to look, the guy dives underwater and puts his face in her ass. And I just thought it would, like, right now I was thinking how funny it would be if I went up and grabbed the Bible and, like, whipped it at him in the pool. Get some Jesus! But, I mean, here's the thing is,
you
like...
guys need Jesus!
You can't miss the pool area, and it's big and bright. Like, you walk this way, and it's entire, like, glassed pooled area, and then you have to walk right to your rooms. And it's like, neither one of you looked up, and you just went straight for the ass dive. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then I saw them later having a smoke break when I was in the car, like, chain vaping. It's like, God forbid you vape in a fucking hotel room. LaWanda might have to wipe down one of the fucking TVs. Fuck, sorry. Like, I'm not asking to fucking smoke a blunt in the room. Like, let me vape. It's fuck you. What you like? You hate the smell of sweet goodness? You're not even gonna know I'm doing it in 15 minutes. I'll open a fucking window. Anyway, that's my plight, guys. Do cocaine instead. What are your guys' thoughts on this one?
I thought that this one was pretty good. It actually had a wraparound story that was cohesive. It wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, not great,
of
but cohesive. I think you're never gonna top the first one.
Yeah, the first one was the best.
The whole haunted house storyline, you're not gonna top it. It's masterfully done.
I understand the video grain over it, the effects. I will say though, in an argument for this one, the effects on this one were way better. What was the last one? What was it? 99? That was.
Yeah.
Well, see,
it was 99.
I think you said the effects on the Mexican God one wasn't great.
I didn't like that one. I
thought that wasn't bad and was like kind of appropriately cheesy, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I just didn't like the face paint, like how it was just white face paint. Pretty much that's all it was. And I don't know. I thought the rest of it was kind of cool with how they were trying to, make it look like creatures or whatever, or
I also find it cool that was like the catalyst of like everything else going on.
One of my favorite shorts in here was No Wake, which was the first one. But I liked it, but at the same time I was confused because they set it up, which if you haven't seen it,
this is a spoiler review. It came out a couple weeks ago. Watch it.
So it's a cool short. They set it up of like, these kids go out on the fucking river or whatever the fuck, they get killed.
Crystal Lake-ish.
Yeah,
it turns out
the Fountain of Youth episode.
Yeah, turns out it's kind of like the Fountain of Youth. And then it sets it up like they're gonna get their revenge, and they technically do.
They do.
But in my head, I was like,
"What happened to them? I want to see them."
Yeah, exactly. And but I was kind of okay with that because I didn't expect it.
Well, you'd have to imagine that they're going to be in the next VHS somewhere.
That would be cool.
Which I'd be okay with.
Really cool if they did that.
But also,
it would be VHS 2024.
Is that the next one?
I was a little confused because I thought that No Wake was part of the wraparound story. I thought that was going to come around.
Well, it was because it's. I mean, if you include the crazy family, I mean, what? So the
seven, the family.
I mean, and they really were kind of like so them and the demon thing in Mexico were really the connecting tissues between them. Yeah. Like, could be the one talks about the earthquake, which is that starts with the Mexican god. Then you have the 7 symbol is in one of them, and then in another one, I think.
That's in No Wake, and then
So I do appreciate that they connected them.
And then
Ambrosia.
I think
it's the first time they inceptioned it. It was a connection within a connection.
Yeah,
I don't think they've ever done that before.
Which also gave it much more of a feel of it's global. Like the VHS was always a very local, and now it's like, oh shit, there's more stories that could be had out of this because this is clearly impacted because it not only does it shows you shit happening in Mexico, shows you shit happening in the States. Like So it shows,
The-
that there's a widespread of this kind of chaos happening.
The one that was connecting them though was the documentary about the thing. That was what was connecting them all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not played out
It
on
didn't-
documentary style, but I'd like to see a refresher on what we do with that.
Yeah.
Like, even if you have to make them a bit more cinematic, then do that. But like, they're a bit stale. And I mean, honestly, right now the horror genre in general is a bit stale. Like, I know we've got 2 more movies, and the 2 newest movies we have are kind of, we'll talk about them, but they're cut and paste mainstream horror movies in a way.
We haven't reviewed it, but when it's streaming, watch it. The movie Talk to Me is
I do want to watch that.
honestly
Yeah.
the most original horror movie I've seen in years. Their style of filming, the dialogue, the way they shot it, their take on possession, like it's probably my favorite horror movie of this year.
I do want to watch that. I'm just waiting to either see it streaming or on sale.
The cheap.
Yeah, I need something a bit fresh. Like, I'm all good with atmosphere, but like, jump scares don't do shit for me. I like creepiness, and unfortunately, in the next 2 movies, it's there, but it's even Boogeyman I had some faults with. VHS 85 for me has never been scary though. Like, it's always been just kind of like, what the fuck craziness is gonna happen next.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah,
like, I'm not
it's
looking
true.
to be scared by VHS. I'm looking for that feeling of when, she grows wings. And the next view you see is the camera above the city as he's being fucking carried to her nest. Like, I'm looking for that sort of feeling again.
But I think
is always
VHS
like a
doesn't take
something's not right vibe.
Yeah, they don't take themselves too seriously. And to be in the interest of fairness, they did shock me with the fact that the way they reconnected the stories again. They did something new. It's different. Story within a story.
It did have me throughout the movie kind of going like, wait a second, that connects to the other one. Remember that symbol? And it's like, oh, that is the same symbol. It's like, oh, the squirt gun, the fucking squirt gun. That's why she's not dying. And it's like, and I do really like that scene too, where the family meeting gets stormed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she doesn't
Dude,
die,
the end
and
of
you're
that
like,
episode is
well,
so good.
well, like that's the whole thing is they show the little girl squirt her with the squirt gun, and then the van passes by, and you're like, that was the same squirt gun that they were using, wasn't it? And Jen's like,
that was the same.
Uh-huh.
That was the same camper.
But until they show you that scene, like we were kind of like, do you think that was the lake water? And then they show it that it's the lake water, and you're like, oh fuck. And you knew like, oh shit, she's gonna keep getting up. Like I would have loved to see more of the camper dudes and more of the chick like in prison, like hanging herself, like a montage of like she gets into a fight and gets stabbed and then still doesn't die, hangs herself in her cell, doesn't die. You know what I mean?
And she's not in a prison. She's actually in a federal fucking like funded bullshit because they don't know what the fuck's going on.
Before Matt and before you weren't here, Anthony, but I told Matt, I was like, it'd be cool if like in the next episode, you know how they were doing like little like commercials and news cuts. If one of the news cuts was woman tried to kill herself in a prison and didn't die, like they just throw that in there, and you're like, oh, that's that lady.
I also
she was hung for 24 hours.
I did appreciate the one story of where they turned the people into jazzercisers.
Yeah, that was the whole what I was saying. That was signing them all.
Yeah, I was actually pretty happy with that one. I would like to see more of that influence where it's like, give me some fake commercials. Like if we're whatever year the next one is, make commercials that are relevant. Like hell, if you were smart and if any of these guys were from the Midwest, they'd throw in an Eagle Man, just like I've got something, and then blip. You know what I mean? Like make it really like I don't necessarily need the filters and effects. I'm looking for consistent storytelling and just like, I mean, this one was appropriately gory too. It was very violent. I enjoyed it a lot. For me, this one was, I'm going to give it a 3.5. It's not, it's clearly not my favorite. I think the first 3, and here's the thing, Lewis was talking about how they're going to do, the next one's going to be sci-fi based, which I'm cool with, because if anybody's ever watched Southbound, they do sci-fi pretty damn well.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Same dudes, and it was like a sci-fi spin-off sort of thing, and if you've ever seen it, it's really cool. If you haven't, I'm actually going to look up and see if it's streaming. I haven't watched it in a while myself.
Yeah, Southbound's really good. But I do like the dude, I think it's Scott Derrickson. was in an interview, and someone told him like, well, how long do you see VHS going? And he's like, fucking forever, as long as people want to make shorts.
Nice.
And
I like that approach.
I dig it. Like, there's no Tales from the Crypt. There's no Tales from the Dark Side. There's no Twilight Zone. So these small things like VHS, or there's a lot of horror anthologies coming out, or even Goosebumps is back, Creep Show. Like, it's never gonna be Tales from the Crypt, and those streaming rights, the licensing rights are fucked. We're never gonna get it.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be crazy if HBO brought it back and you gave every
Dude,
modern horror director an episode for 12 episodes? Like, I mean, if you did Tales of the Crypt right, it would be fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
and it can be done. Creep Show's really good, but for the people who don't know Creep Show, I'm pretty sure everybody has seen the fucking what's his name? Cabinet of Curiosity, was it?
Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah. That probably has reached more people than Creep Show, because I'm pretty sure if more people had Shudder, Creep Show would be more like, present in a lot of conversations.
My whole thing is, these companies retain like privileges on actors and directors and shit. So HBO's got how many assets in their fucking well? Get 12 heavy hitting directors, get a bunch of great cast, and do them like they did them in the old days where you had no idea, but Schwarzenegger directed this episode. He was in the intro for some stupid fucking reason, and then you realize he directed it.
Yeah, dude, for me, upscale Tales from the Crypt, make it digital. I'll pay $100 for it.
Absolutely.
I don't fucking care. Yeah,
if you gave me, even if you gave me just a straight up 1080p transfer, which I think is probably the most viable, I mean, give it to me.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, even if you sold me the collection as is standard def, just proper sold it, I'd pay $50 for that.
Yeah, I just to me though, found footage and anthology horror, like, there's so much you can do with it. I'm happy that VHS is sticking around, and I'm excited to see what they do with like an all sci-fi one. I think there's a lot of cool shit. We've also talked about like bring it to like the 2000s, like.
Yeah,
they can keep the VHS like moniker, but like you can do like the Zoom call shit, like stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean, or there's also the idea of going into the future, like to turn, do a cyberpunk version.
That's everybody has a camera on them as they're walking around.
Yeah, like, well, they've already kind of started that when you had that the eyeball one.
Yeah,
like they've already kind of touched that concept a little bit. Let's go further with it. Let's do an entire sci-fi one about robotics, and you kind of have like a District 9 feel to it. I'm down with that. Okay, so what'd you give it?
For me, it's gonna be a 4. I really liked it.
Alex, what do you got on this one?
It's a 3.5. I like I said, I didn't like the Spanish one very much.
He didn't like seeing that chick naked at the end. He's like, this is just not very Christian.
Alex doesn't like Mexicans. You heard.
I like the story. I didn't like the whole makeup thing like they were trying to use in there. It just looked like they were just like, let's put some ash paint and like cover their face in white, and that was it. Hoping that I thought
it was a little too blurry to get an exact view of the face, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
What's the famous like Hispanic like medium that had a show? That's what made me think of the lady.
Oh my god!
It was very big in Puerto Rico. I can't remember, but yeah, she passed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna go looking for it.
Was it La Mamacita?
What I did like about it though was Freddy Rodriguez was the detective in this, and he was in Dead Presidents. I like him.
That was him, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was him. I was like, is that fucking Freddy Rodriguez?
Yeah, and then Kelly Garner was also in Bully and some other shit.
So it is interesting. They are getting kind of like, I mean, I don't want to say high, but weller known than they were getting.
Oh yeah.
It was Walter Mercado.
When do you start seeing...
that guy. You're talking about that guy. Mr. Mercado. Yeah, he used to sit in his chair with his fucking big ass gray and brown hair. It would oh god, it's crazy.
Spanish Don King. Giovanni, what do you got on this one?
Man, this is of the videos, the newest one, it's a solid 4 for me. I did like it a lot. The problem is it's up against like the first 3 are going to be so legendary. If you remove those 3, this can easily, of the new ones, hit a 4.55.
Yeah, if this
But-
just came out of nowhere and was the first entry, it would be a very solid first entry.
Yeah. But those first 3, if you guys have, if anybody watching this have never seen it, and you're like, and you hear us like talk about the VHSs, and each of them stand alone really well, ignore all that shit. Go look for the first one and watch them in order.
They're really good to like unsettle you like on a Halloween weekend too. Like that's I think the best thing about the originals is they're very unsettling.
Yes.
Like nothing necessarily feels believable, but it's very like the way it's filmed and the way they're done. It's like, fuck, man. And the first one specifically is just like a hit after hit after hit.
Yeah. There's no bad one.
And then you've got the wraparound story, which in itself is a fucking hit. And the way the wraparound story is filmed, where new VHS, that person disappeared. Somebody else found the VHS. What the fuck? Why is this camera sitting here? What's that angle? He's putting in another tape. Oh, there's something behind you in that little doorway there. By the way, like yeah, no, I think the original, especially the original movie and the original trilogy is brilliant, and I wish they would get more back to that formula, which I don't know what that formula is. I don't know what's so different about it, but there's something different between the latest ones and those first 3.
I think this is the closest we've gotten. There's still a lot of work.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But this is the closest we've gotten.
I'd agree, yeah, and I do like them connecting the shorts in a overarching universe beyond just the overarching story. Like, it's making it seem like, oh, these are connected to other events that could happen in the same world. All right, so what do we got on that one? 3.5, and then we got 4s for you guys, right?
Yep. And now you, or did you already give yours?
No, 3.5. Gave 3.5. Next movie is The Boogeyman, as Alex likes to say.
I'm coming to get you.
I'm going to be straight up with this one. I don't like or love this movie. I think it was very predictable. And hello, I don't want to missay your name. Lala Play Roblox. Hello. I don't want to misrepresent it, but I think it's one of those things where I think it's as good as you're going to get for a PG-13 mainstream horror movie. And I think that's going to resonate with Five Nights at Freddy as well. They both kind of fall into the same trap. With that said, I think Boogeyman had really, the acting was on point. The atmosphere was well done. It was a little slow, a little drawn out in moments of just like, I'm getting tired of these scenes of like a character's face for 15 seconds too long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the drag on is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It did make you hate people right away though.
A little bit.
But it also made you like people. I think what it did was the people you were supposed to hate, you hated. The people you were supposed to like, you were like, okay, I understand where you're going.
The father psychologist, I hated him.
I felt for him the most.
I hated him at the beginning. No, I hated him at the beginning. And I'll tell you why when we're ready. But
tell you why now.
Okay, well, because he's trying to get his kids to go talk to somebody and explain their feelings to them, and he's not doing it himself. That's why I hated him from the beginning. Like you want them to do something and you're not doing it yourself.
I mean,
I can't even be honest with your fucking kids.
I look at it as him protecting them.
But it was he? He was protecting himself.
Yeah, but his children aren't his therapists either. Like the whole scene between him and her, where she says, "Just tell me how you feel." Yeah. That's easy to say.
Yes.
But as a psychiatrist, he may understand that telling her how he feels would be worse. It's going to damage her more because the only support she has in her life at that moment can't break down in front of her. You know what I mean?
But she seemed like just from a view, my view, she seemed like she was old enough to understand. So if she would have talked,
she's old enough to smoke pot.
He would have talked back, back to her.
I think the frustration with both of them, and their characters was actually really well done, because there are points in the movie where you want to slap the shit out of her and where you want to slap the shit out of him.
Well, this is a movie at it's a movie at its core that, as much as it is about this creature, the boogeyman, it's also about a family trying to process grief.
Right.
And that's a big part of it. Both the youngest daughter is processing it, but she's in much more of that kid, I have friends that aren't really here sort of mode, and like she's very observant and smart for a young girl, but the emotional development isn't there for her, I don't even think, to fully process her mom's death. Meanwhile, the oldest daughter and the widower, are fully trying to process it and trying to grieve, but they don't know how to grieve. And even though he's a psychologist, he still doesn't maybe know how to process these emotions himself. You know, and he's a father that is now 100% overwhelmed because he's got 2 daughters he's got to raise, and it's just him.
Yeah.
So I understand his character being kind of, and to the character's credit, when shit gets real, and his daughter's like, "You need to listen." He finally does. Like, it wasn't one of those like, "No, you're just grieving." It was like, "Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm listening." Like, I give him that credit too. Like, you know, so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like at the beginning, I fucking hated him. Like,
well, he just seemed like he was, you know. And here's the thing. I think the big difference, they didn't give him some like a drinking problem, which really maybe kind of stay on his side. Like, that's always the character you would assume has some sort of addiction.
But they did have somebody in the movie say maybe he has a drinking problem and you don't know it. Like the bitch friend.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like they could have given his character
that was kind of cool, like how they did it though.
Yeah, well they could have went shitty with it and given him the stupid crutch of, oh, we have to dislike him because he's an alcoholic father too. You know what I mean? Lewis, you recommended this one. What did you think of it when you first watched it?
I thought it was pretty good. It is worth noting this is by Rob Savage, who did the host and Dash Cam.
I enjoyed Dash Cam. I did.
Yeah, so I was looking forward to it because of him, and also because this is based off one of my favorite Stephen King short stories. That's probably only like 20 pages. Basically, the story is a bit different than the movie, in that it's this man describing to his therapist that he just recently lost his family and how they, perish slowly. And then by the end, he realizes that he doesn't have a therapist, and he's talking to the boogeyman, and then the boogeyman kills him.
Cool.
So
cool
yeah, so when
would have been a better ending.
It really would have.
When they announced
it
they
would
were
have been
doing
almost
a
like
movie,
6th Sense, like,
I was excited about them adapting the movie, and then Rob Savage got it. I think it's pretty good. It's not anything stellar. They could have played more with the idea of the boogeyman instead of showing the way they depicted it. But like I said, I think like you guys said, the frustration between the family that's going on, like, is pretty good in that you can get away with, like, you're wrapped up in what's going on.
Yeah.
What's nice is too, I mean, ultimately at the end they come together as a family too. Like, it's not just like, it's one of those things where through this experience, the story is clearly kind of showing you that the family learned to heal a little bit, I think, is what it is.
I would like to give kudos actually to the little girl, the daughter as well.
When she gets whipped into the TV?
Dude, that was amazing. But she it started off with her typical kid, I'm afraid of the dark. But when the creature started messing with her, every time she brought it to, her older sister, and her older sister's like, it's just in your head. Kudos to her to be like, you know what, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just, like, she was trying to understand, like, this may not be real.
I also thought the girl was smart with that.
Into a television.
That little. She did, dude. She got Waffle Housed into that fucking thing. It was awesome.
Everything.
I like the first scene with her where she tosses the globe across the ground.
That was smart.
I was like, this little girl's got some brains. I like her.
That was smart.
I mean, that's the thing, is the family's likable too. Obviously the eldest daughter takes most of the screen time as she's trying to process a life without mom, trying to move on, but at the same time holding, things that she still has from her mother's, near and dear to her, including smoking her mom's pot and wearing her dresses and everything.
Yeah.
For me, this is a solid. I'm in between 3 and 3.5. I'm gonna say 3. I think the problem isn't the movie. The problem is the industry. And when you're making, when you're making horror movies now, it just seems, even if your story is really good, it seems easier to go the cookie cutter route than the route of the guy not having a therapist and it's actually the boogeyman and the boogeyman killing him in the end. Like, to me, I'd much rather have that ending.
Yeah, that would have been a badass ending.
Like, since it doesn't work, the father is the therapist. Have it be where he comes to and the boogeyman has been consoling him the whole time and his kids are already dead.
Yeah, the very end, where he walks back into the therapist's office and opens the door, I was like, oh, they're gonna kind of make it like the story, but they didn't. But I'd be along the lines of what Matt said. It's an enjoyable movie. It's about a 3.5 for me. If it's streaming, check it out. It's
It is. It's
it
on
is
Hulu.
it does fall into line though with like your cookie cutter horror movies, which again, if you have not seen Talk to Me and you want something different, please watch that. But yeah, I'd say check it out. It's middle of the road, 3.5 for me.
It's a 3.5 for me as well. One of the things is it's like scary stuff in the dark. That was like what it's supposed to be with the monster.
Yeah.
So like when it's dark, that's the scary stuff, and it's supposed to jump out at you, but it didn't really. And also, it's like the mimic monster, like it mimics you here and there. But overall, it was still a good story. And it made you hate the people at the beginning, like you're supposed to, and it makes you feel sorry for them later.
I did appreciate
it's like a redemption thing.
I liked how the creature was so animalistic, like it was like a ravenous beast. I liked that part of it.
It was kind of like a weird
cool,
Slenderman type thing, though, like on the four legs.
I like its design though. If you in the beginning when you're seeing shots of it, its mouth was actually the woman's fingers. Like this, and then in the end when she opens up and then like comes out of his mouth, I was like, that's fucking cool. Like,
but
that was really cool.
One big thing I did have a problem with is if the creature likes the dark, why is it that when she was outside in the dark, why didn't it follow her outside? It's just fucking moonlight. Like, why didn't it follow her there?
Well, isn't the whole idea? Yeah, I don't know. That's true. I mean, because you got to remember the creature but the creature was attacking the family.
It was attacking the woman that the first mom.
But then it attacked the family. It was already at the house. The family
right away.
Yeah, it was already at the house. It went back.
But if she ran out, why didn't it follow her like in the darkness? Of the outside. Whatever.
Yeah,
but
you're
that was just
way
like one
too
little
practically for a fucking ghost movie.
Yeah, I guess.
This is a 3.5 for me as well. It was a fun movie to watch, but yeah, I do see and this is coming from somebody who doesn't rewatch movies a lot. It's most movies are one and done for me. But I do see the cookie cutter aspect coming in hard on this one.
It was a little predictable at times, and that's okay. It's just I'm wearing tired of like every horror movie that's out on the market right now. I haven't seen Talk to Me yet, but like so when I come across like a Hulu original cookie cutter, it is always kind of like, okay, I can, like, if I wanted to, I could lay out the movie in the very beginning and probably be 75% minimum accurate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So the next one is the newest one. Came out today. Thank you, Peacock, for still doing day one theatrical streams. It's pretty awesome. This one is Five Nights at Freddy, based off of the popular computer game franchise. Alex, I think, or who knows the most about the video game franchise? Because I don't know really dick about it.
I've got a little bit. I could tell you like snippets of stuff. Like some of the music that was used in this was actually fan created. One of the actors that's in this movie was also a fan of the game, and he creates theories for the game, or for the game.
Yeah, that was pretty funny when I saw him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And my kid just like wouldn't stop talking about it. She just kept going on and on and on. But it's pretty much like a person that ran the place, which is Freddy. What is it called? Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a Chuck E. Cheese ripoff.
And he ends up like murdering children, and the ghosts of the children start taking over the robots, and he finds a way to control them throughout, and they do his bidding throughout the movie.
One of my biggest complaints about this film is less emotional story about your fucking dreams and more robotic animals killing people, please.
Yeah.
Like, there's only so much of like his backstory. We get it. Your brother got kidnapped, and guess what? All right. Are we trying to do spoiler-free review, or what are we doing on this one? I need to know before I start spoiling stuff.
It's up to you guys.
I mean, it did just come out today.
Yeah.
All right, we'll try to be spoiler-free.
We'll do our best.
Basically, the story revolves around PETA from Hunger Games, and he somehow found himself as a deadbeat older brother who's trying to raise his younger sister after the parents apparently have passed. Meanwhile, his aunt is
The
trying
mom passed, but the dad he just disappeared. He's a
See,
dead
I
dude.
did think at the end it was going to be the dad driving away, and they never really, yeah. So dad's not in the picture, so he's raising the his young sister, and meanwhile the aunt is trying to take away the young sister's kind of the subplot. And he's down on luck, and he is a mall security guard who beats the shit out of what he thought was a child abductor. Turned out to be the kid's father. He got an arrest record, and nobody wants to hire him. So Matthew Lillard, aka Shaggy, decided he had one job he could offer him, and that was being the overnight security guard at a Chuck E. Cheese that is closed down. Why it needs an overnight security guard, nobody seemed to ever question. And that's
AKA Ghostface 2. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the overarching story. If you're a fan of the franchise, I'm going to assume the main character and his story has nothing to do with it. That was all made for the movie.
Yeah, it was made for the movie.
I will say, not being a fan or really having much knowledge of the franchise, from what I could tell from the imagery that they replicated, they did a really good job of recreating the look and kind of the feel overall, that atmosphere of like Saw meets, Willy's Wonderland, basically.
They did. They stayed true. They stayed true to a lot of things in the game, and I absolutely appreciate that the creatures were less CG and more practical.
Yeah, Jim Henson's puppeteer crew worked on these creatures, and I mean, here's the thing: the movie's definitely a AAA mainstream. It's clear, it's clean, the creatures look great, the other CG looks great, and I don't really, I mean, I don't have anything super against it. Besides, it does fall into. There's only so much you could do with a property that's made for children on a PG-13 mainstream horror movie, and I think, to their credit, they did as much as they could and made this movie as enjoyable as they could. I'd say cut down on some of the slower moving parts about the personal stories and add in a little bit more of the horror. But other than that, I found it to be pretty enjoyable.
I think the way it's set up, if they were to continue, the kids are going to be older by the time the next movie comes out. They can actually probably go NC-17 or R-rated.
I mean,
because the kids are going to be old enough by now,
Yeah, but you also got to remember, for marketing purposes, you also want it to be a movie where the kids who loved it are having kids, and they can go, oh, I'm going to take my kid to this movie and show them, like you. Like, let's say
That's
you
true.
were a diehard fan of it, and you wanted to bring Rose to it. Doing it in a rated R one may not be the most comfortable or easily, you know what I mean? Do you want to? How much do you want to balance out? And
that's what happened. That's what happened with Willy's Wonderland. I had to find all the spots, and it was just 3 sex scenes out of the whole movie.
Well, there would have to be.
I had to fast forward through.
You'd imagine you'd have a lot of parents going, I know they love it, and I was a big fan of it, but if it's going to be super gory, I'd rather not expose them to it. And so I understand them sticking with PG-13, even though you know me, I always favor rated R shit.
Yeah,
I'm a rated R superstar.
So I was looking up. It looks like Matthew Lillard signed a 3-picture deal to do the movie. So
okay.
who knows? We might see more of him. But I have a couple.
Or you might hear more of him.
I mean, it is set up for a sequel. Yeah.
My main problem with this movie is the development hell it was in, because in that time you had Banana Splits come out, you had Willy's
Which
Wonderland,
I still haven't seen,
and I just kept thinking while watching this movie, and it's not the movie's fault. Like, I've seen this before. Like, I've seen this idea
it's
before.
No longer a novel concept.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
do you think the reason why it was in developmental hell is because of the creator of this whole story? Like, he got himself put in some bad shit.
Yeah, he's put himself in some bad spots. But also he has not, because he had certain views that people don't align with.
Yeah.
But I also I think even before that, I don't think studios just wanted to do a movie like this, because if you look at the games, it's an analog horror game where you're flipping TV screens. Like, it's such a weird thing to say, like, let's make a movie out of this. And I feel like Willy's Wonderland approached the silent protagonist idea a bit better. The thing about this movie, though, is I didn't expect Josh Hutcherson's backstory to fuck me up. I was like, I thought I was just gonna watch cool scares.
Right.
This dude's got these fucking personal demons that are just fucking deep.
So
like I did not expect that.
I would have almost preferred, instead of him and that whole main storyline, almost like a Stand By Me storyline with like 6 friends.
This was like Zathura
Oh, that
fucking
would've
all
been-
over
that
again.
would've
though.
been
Like,
nice.
could you
For
imagine?
Josh Hutcherson.
Rather than Josh Hutcherson fighting it, it's like a group of like 11, 12-year-old friends type, like Stranger Things sort of thing.
Or it'd be like it.
Like
This is battery acid.
Like if you're making up a story and you're trying to appeal to kids as much as you can on a PG-13 movie, why wouldn't you make it about them instead of fucking PETA? Is all I'm saying. Like, don't get me wrong, his storyline was all right. It was well written and he acted it well. But I don't know. I feel like if you would have done it with a group of kids that finds the arcade one day exploring, it would have been a little bit more promising. I don't know. You know, that way you know.
Man. I want to watch Super 8 again.
Super 8 is such a good fucking movie, dude.
That movie's so good.
Very underrated.
Such a good movie. Well, that's, you know, people hated it because of the lens flare. Because God forbid J.J. Abrams uses too much lens flare. I don't mind.
He does.
He does, but it's the same thing as like Snyder using too much music in his movies. Like, I enjoy that part of it though. Like,
That's true. That's true.
Like, I'm okay with that. You know, it's one of those things I accept and enjoy even. Here's the thing is, I mean, I don't want to spoil much in this. So what I would say is, if you're a fan of the franchise, you'll more than likely dig it. If you're just a horror movie fan, it's decent. It's enjoyable. Watch it with your kids or your wife or whatever. It's PG-13. You don't get a whole lot of gore. There's a little bit of blood. It's fun. It is, you know, it's a fun movie that I think even if you went to the theaters to see with the family, you'd probably still have a pretty good, enjoyable time. It feels like a movie that was meant to be in the theaters. Like, that was important to me. It didn't feel like an exclusive streaming movie. It felt like something that, if you saw it in theaters, you know, with your kids, you wouldn't be disappointed in the experience. I'm going to stick with it, though. For me, it's an easy 3, and that's just going to, I think, be my mainstream AAA PG-13 horror score, because they're good, but these are not movies that are going to be added to my list of horror greats or horror movies that I gotta watch. So yeah, I think the middle of the road for me on the 3.
I'll go.
Yeah,
I'll go. Good. You spoke up first. Go ahead.
One of you motherfuckers.
I was gonna say for me it's the same. It's kind of like this. Like if I'm watching horror marathon, this is like the junk food before the fucking main course. Like it's
This is like the movie if like
if
your wife isn't into horror movies, it's like, yeah, I'll watch that one. You like Jim
Exactly.
Henson?
Yeah.
You like
Exactly.
the Jim Henson does stuff in it? Yeah, well, we can watch that one.
Yeah.
But if I'm rating the costumes alone, it's a fucking 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like,
production design in general in this movie is very well done.
The characters were fucking good.
You find so many IPs where they transition it to a big screen and the fans are like, why didn't you just make it like this? And like Blumhouse was like, yeah, we're gonna fucking do that. Like,
yeah.
So
the animatronics, my kid was like, oh, that's it. Even the ones that weren't even used in the movie, she goes, oh, that's this thing, and she kept pointing it out.
The Easter eggs were insane.
I think my favorite scene was where they're all looking at the camera and they put the little one in the vent and they just go right back to looking at the camera. I thought that was awesome. There's parts of this movie that are really fun. I think that's the big part of it, is like, that might be kind of the benefit of a PG-13 horror movie, is you can watch it with your younger kids and go, isn't that, oh man, that's fun, right? And like, you can kind of have that experience with them. And like, as much as I love rated R horror, you know, you don't want to be exposing children to fucking, you know, straight beheadings and shit. So like, I think in the, I don't want to say family horror, but in the horror genre of being able to watch it with your family, wife, whatever, girlfriend who isn't into horror movies, whatever, it succeeds where a lot of those do really fail.
Yeah. So for me, it was a 4 because I actually enjoyed that I was able to watch a movie with my kid, and for her to actually enjoy it, and the excitement that she was getting. Like, and just like I can hear her like say something, and I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Never mind." She's like, "I don't want to spoil it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I knew she knew something that was happening when she saw stuff, and it would like made her think of the.
Is it the type of
Alex just yelling, "Shut up!"
No. I actually one time
he's looking at her. He's like, "Why couldn't you be this engaged for Back to the Future?"
It's yes, exactly. But it's so much different from watching a movie with my wife. Hopefully she can't hear me. when she watches a movie with me, she questions everything. Where versus my kid is actually telling me, "Oh, I don't want to spoil it. You know, you're gonna like."
My
this.
dad, when we were kids, would do that. We would be watching a movie, and he's like, "Why the fuck would you do that?" And he'd like walk away to go get a drink. Like, dude, like my dad was like, he may be white as day, but he was a black woman in a movie theater every time we watched a fucking movie. It was ridiculous.
I did tell my kid after a while. I'm like, hey, you know what? I was like, I'm glad you're excited. I said, but let's keep it quiet.
Yeah,
let's
not
just watch
it with
the rest
Mom.
of it.
We'll just watch.
Let's just watch the rest of it. And but it was also pretty exciting to see how she got about the Easter eggs that were happening. So it was a 4 for me.
That's
but
awesome.
if it was her, she'd probably say 10. You know, and when I told her we only go to 5, she was like, no, it's a 10. I was like, no, but we only go to 5.
You can't go 120%.
This is a 4 for me as well, and that's because I played the games. I enjoyed the Easter eggs for the same reason, but at the same time, if you've never played the games and you're just watching this, I grew up watching Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Erie, Indiana, and this looks like a high production version of that.
See, I wish this.
Yeah.
See, I did think this would have been better as a short story, though. Is my whole thing like. Getting rid of a lot of even if you would have stripped away all of the main storyline of PETA's and just had it about this story of like, and even if you would have emulated the video game even more with the cameras and stuff, you could have effectively made this part of an anthology and had it be really cool too.
So there was a game that came out called The Night
cool.
Manager or some shit like that, right, Johnny? Like The Night Manager?
The Night Manager. Mm-hmm.
So if it would have just been about that, where it would just been one person that showed up for the Night Manager job,
yeah,
and it would have been all around that, you would have been like, holy shit, okay, I got it.
I will say the chick cop did give almost an Alan Wake-y feel to it of like, we know you're fucking behind something, like, why are you being so nice? Like, well, you want to blow me?
Her dialogue, it was like, why are you here? You shouldn't be here.
Like, somebody
don't leave. Why are you leaving?
I thought she was going to come out to be like some kind of NPC. I thought she was going to be like some kind of NPC.
I was wondering if she was going to be one of the ghosts as well, that one of the kids just figured out how to emulate the human form.
Yeah, and that's what I thought it was going to be.
But there was scenes where like he would like turn around and it's almost like she whispered like, I love you, and he's like, huh? She's like, nothing. You know, like that sort of thing.
I get it because of the stories you go into later, but her dialogue is like, why are you here? Fuck you. Don't come back. Why are you leaving? It's like, what? What do you want me to do?
You're injured. Let me make coffee. What is happening?
I'm getting mixed signals from you.
Why are you making coffee? It's midnight.
There would be a scene where he turns around, she's completely naked, and he does a double take, and she's fully clothed.
Yeah, right.
Let's go. Like, what the fuck happened?
She's stripped naked, and he looks, and she's like, fucking pervert, and then she just bends over in front of him. It's like,
and
what is going on in this movie?
Sound?
Yeah, Shaggy. He's just like, Scoob, that's my daughter's butthole, man. You know, it was.
You could do that for one Scooby snack.
Like, does anybody remember? Oh, what was the game? The 360 game that was like the Twin Peaks ripoff. Oh. That was just all sorts of fucking weird and oh man, Deadly Premonition. Her character and dialogue reminded me a little bit of like one of the females in that movie, of just like half the time she's robotic and half the time it's like, are you in love with me? Like, am I getting this vibe or is it just me? Like, are you coming on to me? I don't know you at all. Like, I look dirty. Like, what do you want? I'm clearly fucking tired, lady. It's fucking 1 a.m. and I'm trying to sleep to solve my brother's kidnapping. Like, what do you want me to do? All right. Spoiler. That's as spoiler free as we're gonna get, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry if it.
The best we could do.
But it just came out today, and we really don't want to ruin it for you. Go enjoy it with the family. Go watch it with the wife, the girlfriend, the boyfriend. I don't give a fuck. Watch it with somebody, because if you watch movies by yourself all the time, you turn into me. Go watch your children. Go watch your children. Go wash your children.
Go watch your children. Go watch the movie. Go watch your children. Do you know where your children are at 10 p.m.?
If you don't know where your child is at 10 p.m., guess what? They're probably smoking crack. I mean, let's be real. Or is it fentanyl now? They're doing fentanyl. And
or their dead mom's pot.
They should be watching FNAF with you, and instead they're banging their girlfriend while doing an 8-ball. It's no good, and they're only 13. Get them in reform school. Everybody have a great night, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next week with another episode. The end of Halloween week, or Halloween month is next week. We'll have 4 more fun, spooky movies for you guys. So everybody have a good night. Thank you so much. Love you.